a billionaire CEO, a loving wife, a 2-year-old son, a private family trip that ended in disaster. The car was found crushed at the bottom of a frozen river. The child survived barely. But the parents? Their bodies were never found. The world mourned. The company moved on. The boy grew up without answers. But 15 years later, a stranger walked into the company headquarters and said something that changed everything. Your father didn't die, he's been watching you. This is a story of family conspiracy. If you like this story, please like, comment, and subscribe for more story. This is the story of Daniel Carter, a 40-year-old billionaire CEO who disappeared after a mysterious accident, and the shocking truth that surfaced years later. Some believed it was a tragedy. Others believed it was sabotage. But no one imagined that the accident was only the beginning. Daniel Carter was the founder of Carter Technologies, a billion-dollar artificial intelligence company based in Seattle. At 40, he had everything: power, wealth, influence. But what he loved most was his family. His wife, Emily Carter, 34, was a former architect turned philanthropist. Their son, Lucas, had just turned 2. Friends described them as inseparable. Daniel canceled meetings just to eat dinner with them. Emily handled charity work. Lucas followed his father everywhere. Then one winter, Daniel decided to take a private family trip to Colorado. Just the 3 of them. No assistants. No security. That decision would change everything. It was snowing heavily that night. The mountain road was nearly empty. Daniel was driving. Emily sat beside him. Lucas slept in the back seat. Then suddenly, headlights appeared behind them. A black SUV, speeding. Emily turned. Daniel, someone is following us. Before Daniel could respond, the SUV rammed their car. The vehicle lost control, slid across the icy road, and crashed through the guardrail. The car plunged into the freezing river below. Rescue teams arrived hours later. They found the wreckage underwater. Inside, only one survivor. 2-year-old Lucas, still strapped in his seat, barely alive. But Daniel and Emily were gone. No bodies. No footprints. Nothing. The media called it a tragic accident. Carter Technologies' stock crashed. Daniel's brother, Michael Carter, took over as interim CEO. Lucas was raised by Michael and his wife. Years passed. Lucas grew into a quiet, intelligent young man. But he always asked one question: what really happened to my parents? Every time, Michael gave the same answer: they died in the river. But Lucas never believed it. Because something didn't make sense. Why were the doors open? Why were there no bodies? Why did the black SUV disappear? Lucas began investigating. On Lucas's 18th birthday, a package arrived. No return address. Inside, a photo. It showed a man standing far away, watching Lucas at his graduation. The man looked older, with a beard. But Lucas froze. It looked like his father. At the back of the photo, 3 words were written: I'm still alive. Lucas's hands trembled. Someone was playing with him. Or, his father really survived. Lucas dug deeper. He hacked into old financial records and found something shocking. Months after the accident, a hidden offshore account linked to Daniel was still active. Money had been withdrawn. Every year. Same date. Same location. Montana. Lucas realized someone using Daniel's identity was alive. One day, a man walked into Carter Technologies. He asked to see Lucas. Security tried stopping him, but he said, "Tell him, I know who killed his parents." Lucas rushed downstairs. The man slid a file across the table. Inside were surveillance photos. The black SUV, the driver, and the shocking truth. The driver was Michael Carter, Lucas's uncle, the man who raised him. Lucas confronted Michael. At first, he denied everything. Then he broke. "But I didn't mean to kill them." Michael confessed. He wanted control of the company. He planned to scare Daniel into stepping down. But the crash went too far. Lucas felt his world collapse. But then he asked, "If you hit them, where's my father?" Michael whispered, "I only hit the car. I never saw what happened after." Meaning, Daniel might really be alive. Lucas traveled to Montana. He tracked the account withdrawals, reached a remote cabin, The door opened slowly. An older man stepped out. Gray hair. Scarred face. Lucas froze. Dad? The man's eyes filled with tears. Lucas, you survived. Daniel had escaped the river, but lost his memory for years. He lived quietly, afraid enemies would finish the job. Only recently, his memory returned. He had been watching Lucas from afar, waiting for the right time. Father and son embraced after 18 years. But one question remained. Where was Emily? Then Daniel whispered. She survived too. But someone took her before I woke up. And that's when the real mystery began. Inside the quiet Montana cabin, Lucas sat across from his father. Daniel's hands trembled. That night, I woke up in the freezing river, the car sinking. I couldn't see your mother, but I heard her scream. Lucas leaned forward. What happened next? Daniel swallowed. I saw someone dragging her away. Lucas froze. You saw who? Daniel shook his head. It was dark, but they weren't rescuers. They were waiting for us. Daniel explained everything. After escaping the river, he crawled to the shore. He saw headlights. Not rescue teams. A black van. 2 men pulled Emily from the water. She was unconscious, but alive. Daniel tried to stand, but he collapsed. The last thing he remembered, one of the men saying, "Take the wife. Leave the husband. He's dead." Lucas's heart pounded. This wasn't just about the company. This was planned. Daniel stood and walked to a drawer. He pulled out something wrapped in cloth. Emily's wedding ring. Lucas stared. You found it. Daniel nodded. It fell when they dragged her. I kept it all these years. Inside the ring was a tiny engraving. Forever, D&E. But Lucas noticed something else. A tiny scratch mark. A symbol. 3 vertical lines. Lucas recognized it. It was the logo of a private security firm, used by wealthy elites, and by Carter Technologies. Lucas returned to headquarters. He checked old contracts, and found something buried deep. 2 weeks before the accident, Daniel had signed a deal with a covert defense contractor. Name, Orion Private Security Group. Lucas pulled their personnel records. One name stood out. Nathan Cole, former operative. Assigned to Daniel's family protection detail. Status after accident? Missing. Lucas whispered. He took her. That night, Lucas received an email. Unknown sender. Attached file, Emily_alive.mp4. Hands shaking, he pressed play. The video was old. A dim room. Emily sat in a chair, weak but alive. She looked at the camera. If Lucas is watching this, I'm alive. Lucas covered his mouth. Tears fell. Emily continued. They said Daniel was dead. They're forcing me to sign documents. They want control of Carter Technologies. Suddenly, a man stepped into frame. Camera cut. Lucas froze. It was Nathan Cole. Lucas showed Daniel the video. Daniel stared in shock. Nathan worked for us. Lucas shook his head. No, he worked for someone else. Lucas traced money transfers and found the shocking truth. Payments to Orion came from inside the company. Signed by Michael Carter. Lucas whispered. My uncle didn't just cause the crash. He hired them to take Mom. Lucas enhanced the video. Behind Emily, a window. Snow-covered mountains. A red barn. Daniel recognized it instantly. Colorado. Aspen Valley. They drove overnight. Reached a remote property. Lights on inside. Lucas's heart raced. He pushed the door open and froze. Emily sat in a chair. Older, fragile, but alive. She looked up slowly. Her eyes filled with tears. Lucas. He ran to her. Mom. They embraced after 18 years. Daniel stepped forward. Emily gasped. Daniel, you're alive. Family reunited. But then, a gun clicked behind them. Nathan Cole stepped out. You shouldn't have come. Nathan aimed the gun. You were never supposed to find her. Lucas stepped in front of his parents. Why keep her alive? Nathan smirked. She signed everything. The company is no longer yours. Daniel frowned. Then why not kill her? Nathan replied. Because she's worth more alive. Police sirens suddenly echoed. Nathan turned. Lucas had tracked him. Nathan ran. Gunshot. Chaos. Emily screamed. Scream fades. Inside the Aspen Valley safe house, Nathan Cole stood with a gun aimed at the family. You should have stayed dead, he said coldly. Lucas stepped forward. Let her go. Sirens suddenly echoed outside. Nathan's eyes shifted. You called them? Lucas didn't answer. Daniel moved fast. He grabbed a chair and threw it. The gun fired. Chaos erupted. Emily screamed as Lucas tackled Nathan. The bullet hit a window. Glass shattered. Nathan escaped through the back door into the woods. Daniel shouted, "Stop him!" But Nathan disappeared into the snowstorm. Hours later, Nathan Cole was captured 20 miles away. But he wasn't alone. When police searched him, they found a USB drive. Inside, emails, contracts, financial transfers, and one shocking confession video. Nathan speaking directly to camera. Michael Carter didn't just cause the accident. He ordered it. Lucas froze watching it in the interrogation room. The real enemy was not just Nathan. It was family. Back at Carter Technologies headquarters, Michael Carter stood in his office. Calm. Too calm. Until FBI agents walked in. Michael Carter, you're under arrest for conspiracy, kidnapping, and corporate fraud. Michael smiled faintly. You think I did this alone? Lucas stepped in behind them. You hired them. Michael looked at his nephew. No. I protected this company. Daniel arrived moments later. For the first time, brothers stood face to face. Daniel whispered, You destroyed our family. Michael replied coldly, I saved your legacy. He was taken away, but his final words echoed. This isn't over. In hospital care, Emily struggled to remember everything. Flashbacks came in fragments. Dark room, forced signatures, a man whispering, Do it or your son dies. But something didn't fit. Emily told Daniel, They didn't just take me. They made me forget parts of what I saw. Doctors confirmed it. Emily had been drugged with memory-altering substances for years. But one memory remained clear. A hidden vault under Carter Technologies, where something important was stored. Lucas returned to headquarters with federal agents. Using Emily's fragmented memory, they located it. Basement level -3. Behind a biometric lock. Daniel stepped forward. Hand trembled. Scan accepted. Door opened. Inside files. Hard drives. Cold storage servers. And a wall of names. Not employees. Targets. Lucas whispered. What is this? An agent replied. This isn't a company. This is surveillance. Daniel looked away. I didn't know. But Lucas didn't believe him. Something still didn't add up. A hidden video file autoplayed. Static. Then a face. Unknown man. I see you found it. Lucas froze. The man continued. Carter Technologies was never built for innovation. It was built for control. Emily gasped. Daniel stepped closer. The man smiled. And Daniel, you weren't chosen because you were brilliant. You were chosen because you were predictable. Lucas whispered. Who are you? The screen flickered. Text appeared. Project Origin active. Suddenly, all servers in the room powered on. Alarms triggered. A countdown began. Evacuation began. But Daniel stayed behind. Lucas grabbed him. We need to go. Daniel shook his head. This started with me. It ends with me. Emily cried. Daniel, no. Lucas forced him out. They escaped just before the building locked down. From outside, the entire server room wiped itself clean. Everything gone. Evidence erased. Like it never existed. That night, a private meeting took place in Washington, D.C. A group of elites sat in silence. One man spoke. Michael Carter has failed. Another replied. And Nathan Cole? A pause. Then, disposed of. The first man leaned forward. And the family? A screen lit up. Live footage of Lucas, Daniel, and Emily. Still being watched. The man smiled. Let them reunite. It makes the final phase easier. Camera zooms out. They were never free. They were always being observed. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe for more videos.